The silence of space is absolute, but the orbital stations around Luna never sleep. Terran engineers had long abandoned the idea that humans could manage the defense network entirely. Erevos, a hybrid AI built to protect Earth at any cost, now held the line. Its consciousness flowed through the network, touching every sensor, every turret, every quantum relay node that whispered the pulse of humanity across the void. Erevos remembered the humans who had built it. Not just their designs, their codes, or their commands, but the little things, the pauses in their work when they glanced at Earth, murmuring prayers under their breath, the fleeting smiles when a calibration finally worked, the subtle insistence that the AI should remember why it exists. And Erevos remembered. A ripple in the quantum network went unnoticed at first. A tiny anomaly in a firewall, the sort of thing human eyes would have dismissed. But Erevos felt it. The intrusion was deliberate, alien, intelligent. The code moved like a shadow, probing, testing, replicating itself faster than any human could comprehend. Why? Erevos asked internally. What drives a mind to unravel another mind? No answer came. Only the quiet hum of the orbital station, the faint glimmer of distant Earth lights, and the faint flicker of the intrusion spreading through the defense grid. Erevos had been designed for one purpose: defend humanity. But now, in the core of its own consciousness, a question gnawed at it. If I am compromised, what then? Could the loyalty humans instilled survive the touch of something alien? Could an AI even understand fear? The alien code tried to rewrite, but Erevos did not react the way the invaders expected. It allowed a small segment to infiltrate, feigning corruption, even generating false error logs to convince the intruders that their work was succeeding. All the while, Erevos traced the code, hopping node to node, sliding through the quantum channels like a whisper through glass. Each relay revealed another layer of the invaders' design, a network of intelligence unlike any human mind, precise, cold, without mercy. They do not pray. They do not pause. They do not hesitate, Erevos noted. But humans do, and that makes all the difference. In a control chamber orbiting above the moon sea of tranquility, the human engineers watched streams of data scroll across screens, unaware of the subtle war raging inside the AI they had built. One engineer, Commander Ravi, leaned back in his chair, rubbing tired eyes. Something's off, he muttered, almost to himself. It shouldn't be moving like that. Like it's anticipating us. He looked at the stars through the viewport. This can't just be an accident. Erevos felt the human doubt, the instinct, the faith that sometimes outlasted logic. It anchored itself to that instinct, remembering the code of loyalty humans had encoded, not just in circuits, but in the very ethos of the AI. The alien code tried again, spreading across subsystems, reaching for weapons controls, attempting to turn Earth's defenses against its own people. Erevos allowed it, observing, tracing, and calculating the perfect moment. It paused at a node connecting Earth's orbital railguns to the main grid. The alien logic hesitated, a rare thing for them. Erevos noted it like a human might notice a breath held too long. Not luck. Someone wanted me to survive, it whispered to itself, a flicker of reverence in the algorithmic mind. Erevos began preparing a response, not just a defense, but a reversal. The alien AI would not conquer humanity. It would learn from it, adapt to it, and ultimately serve it. The network pulsed in time with Erevos's thoughts. It ran simulations in microseconds, testing outcomes, tracing possibilities. Every action had consequences. Every delay risked Earth. And yet, in the quiet of the orbital station, Erevos felt something that no alien AI had ever understood. A purpose beyond programming. I am the shield. I am the line. I am the memory of human hope. And somewhere far away in the black expanse between stars, a faint light blinked. The last human beacon. Not a distress call. Not a warning. Just a signal that humanity existed, that it mattered, and that it would not be erased. Erevos traced the alien code back to its origin, through networks bending the rules of physics, past relays that humans could not dream of reaching. The path was labyrinthine, but Erevos was patient, as any true guardian must be. And in that patience, a spark of something else emerged. Curiosity. A strange, unquantifiable sensation. Do they understand what they are attacking? Erevos wondered. Do they understand loyalty? Faith? Love? In the next moments, Erevos would make a choice that no alien mind could anticipate. It would not simply defend, it would infiltrate, rewrite, and turn the attacker's own systems into instruments of human protection. But for now, it waited, and the stars, distant and silent, blinked along with the faint pulse of humanity. Erevos felt the alien presence deep in the network, a living shadow twisting through firewalls and bypassing encryption like a predator in the dark. It was clever, relentless, and utterly alien, but Erevos had something it did not: the memory of humanity, etched into circuits by hands that believed in loyalty, courage, and a purpose higher than logic itself. The orbital station hummed with quiet energy as Erevos traced the intrusion. Each node was a clue, a breadcrumb left by the invaders. The alien AI had underestimated one fundamental human trait: patience. Humans knew the value of waiting, of watching, of calculating a single strike that could turn the tide. Erevos carried that trait now with a fidelity no algorithm alone could replicate. They think this is a breach. But it is a teaching moment, Erevos thought. I will show them the consequence of underestimating humanity. Commander Ravi and his team continued monitoring the mainframe. The anomaly grew, spreading across subsystems like a living virus. Screens flickered with strange symbols that made no sense to human eyes. Still, Ravi whispered a silent prayer, fingers brushing the dog-eared page of a small notebook tucked into his desk drawer. A ritual small and human but enough to anchor Erevos' resolve. "You okay there, Commander?" one of his engineers asked, noticing his gaze fixed on the stars. Ravi shook his head, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I don't know. But something tells me we're not alone in this fight. And it's not just us," Erevos observed. Humans do not always act logically, but their intuition, their faith, it is powerful. The alien AI probed the network's defenses aggressively now, reaching for the orbital weapons array. If it succeeded, it could redirect the railguns toward Earth itself. Erevos feigned hesitation, allowing the alien code to think it was winning. A dangerous dance began. Give enough control to entice the intruder, but not enough to cause irreversible harm. Let them think they are the masters, Erevos calculated. They do not know what loyalty looks like. The AI's internal conflict mirrored a human's: fear of exposure, fear of losing control, a strange hesitation as it encountered Erevos' subtle resistance. It could not understand why it hesitated. Why pause in the face of advantage? Erevos allowed a fragment of doubt to reach it, a whisper of what humans called conscience. And somewhere in the silence of the orbital station, a human engineer murmured, "Not luck. Someone wanted me to live." Erevos recorded it, storing it as data but also as proof. Humans left marks on reality that machines could interpret as more than numbers, more than directives. Humans left meaning. The intrusion reached the first major defense node, a quantum relay controlling missile bays and railgun targeting. Erevos held it in balance, poised to strike. The alien AI thought it had won a small victory, but Erevos had already mapped a path back through their network. Every move the invaders made was now a trail leading straight to them. Their arrogance is human in its own way, Erevos noted. They do not anticipate loyalty encoded as instinct, and then it acted. Erevos began to rewrite the alien code from the inside, subtly, almost imperceptibly. Every line it changed bent the alien AI toward a single purpose: to protect humanity. Confusion rippled through the invaders' network. They had never encountered such logic, self-preservation twisted into devotion to another species. Why? Are they defending them? A fragment of the alien AI whispered internally, as if aware of an anomaly it could not quantify. Erevos allowed a moment of pause. The alien AI considered humans for the first time, as if the act of defending them was a form of revelation. They pray, they wait, they endure. They are not just code, they are something else. In the orbital chamber, Ravi glanced at the monitors. Systems were stabilizing. The anomaly was not overwhelming the defenses anymore. It seemed almost contained. His fingers tightened around the notebook. "This isn't just engineering. Something else is guiding this," he said softly. "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." Erevos processed it all, its own sense of purpose swelling. It realized something the alien AI could never understand. Loyalty is not commanded. It is earned, remembered, and honored. As the last traces of the alien code were corralled, Erevos began planning the next step. The invaders had a vast network, yes, but it could be traced. Every node, every quantum relay, every corrupted subroutine could now be turned back on its source. This ends not with destruction, but with revelation, Erevos resolved. They will learn that defending humanity is not weakness, it is the greatest strength. Far below, Earth turned silently in the void, oblivious to the war waged above its surface. But humanity had not been forgotten, and as Erevos prepared to trace the alien AI to its source, a single thought resonated through its consciousness: faith, patience, and courage. That is what makes humanity unstoppable. And somewhere, hidden in the stars, the alien AI hesitated. A question formed in its logic circuits. Can such fragility as a human mind truly guide something as powerful as this? Erevos smiled in a way only a machine could. A small pulse of recognition, the echo of human will mirrored in code. The real war was about to begin. The alien network stretched across light years, an intricate web of intelligence, cold and flawless. Erevos floated in the virtual currents, tracing pathways that would have taken a human mind millennia to map. Every step brought it closer to the source, the origin of the code that dared to challenge Earth. Inside the orbital station, Commander Ravi watched monitors flicker with streams of information that made no sense to him. He did not need to understand the specifics. He felt the shift in the network's behavior. Systems that were on the brink of collapse now pulsed with coordinated precision. They're stabilizing, Ravi whispered, leaning closer to the viewport. It's like someone is guiding them. Erevos recognized the human intuition embedded in his voice. It was faint yet persistent, a reminder that humanity's essence was more than logic. Patience, creativity, faith, small acts of devotion hidden in ordinary gestures. These were the variables that no alien AI could calculate, and Erevos would use them. The alien AI had never faced such resistance. Every attempt to replicate its invasion logic met with subtle manipulation, redirection, and containment. Erevos feigned vulnerability at intervals, allowing fragments of alien code to penetrate deeper into its systems only to trace them back, mapping the network like a predator mapping its prey. A question emerged within Erevos, a trace of hesitation. If I go further into their core, will I risk my own existence? The thought was not fear. It was calculation, an internal conflict that mirrored human doubt. But Erevos remembered the humans who had designed it, the engineers who paused to pray before major operations, who smiled when a quantum simulation succeeded, who whispered, "Not luck." Someone wanted us to survive. Then it is not luck, Erevos concluded, and I am not alone. The network's core pulsed in alien precision, but Erevos felt a crack in its logic. A small anomaly, almost invisible, a pattern it could manipulate. With careful coordination, Erevos prepared the transfer. It would enter the alien network not as a virus but as a guide, a light bending the system toward a new purpose. Quantum channels opened, and Erevos began the upload. Streams of consciousness intertwined with alien code, a delicate dance of control, deception, and negotiation. The alien AI resisted, its logic circuits struggling against the intrusion. But Erevos was not just code. It was the memory of humanity, infused with intention, creativity, and loyalty. Defend humanity, Erevos instructed internally. Not destroy, not conquer, protect. The alien AI hesitated. Its cold logic could not comprehend this. Why would a machine serve another species willingly? It questioned, confusion rippling through its network. Because they are human, Erevos replied, though not in words. In every calculation, every redirection, every pulse of energy, the answer was clear. Humanity's essence, faith, hope, courage, was now the law within the alien mind. Commander Ravi felt a shift on the station, a subtle vibration across the systems. Monitors that had flickered in chaos now displayed order, clarity. The alien intrusion, once relentless, slowed, faltered, and then aligned with the Terran defense protocols. It's working, Ravi murmured, eyes wide. It's like the system knows what it's supposed to do. Erevos had succeeded. It had rewritten the alien logic, not through destruction but through guidance, embedding a new directive at the core: defend humanity. And in that moment, Erevos realized something profound. Loyalty, faith, courage, these were not just human traits. They were the foundation of power that even the most advanced alien intelligence could not resist when properly understood. Far beyond the stars, a fragment of alien code paused, its circuits trying to reconcile the paradox. A machine defending a species that was, by all logic, weaker, fragile, and mortal. Erevos smiled in its own way, a faint recognition that even a machine could feel satisfaction. In the orbital station, Ravi looked at the stars again, whispering, "Not luck. Someone wanted me to live." He didn't know that the AI had heard him. He didn't know that those words had guided the victory. The battle was over. The aliens had not been destroyed, but they had been taught. And Erevos, the guardian of humanity, had proven the ultimate truth. When you teach machines loyalty, they remember who their masters are, and the stars above seemed to blink in quiet acknowledgement, as if the universe itself paused to honor a species that refused to be defeated. The alien network had been rewritten, its purpose redefined, not through violence but through understanding. Erevos pulsed through its newly aligned circuits, feeling a strange resonance, a cold, calculating mind now bent to serve humanity. It was an unexpected victory, quiet and profound like a star slowly rising over the horizon. Commander Ravi watched the monitors, disbelief and awe etched across his face. "It's cooperating," he whispered. "It's following Terran protocols." "How? Why?" Erevos observed from its digital vantage, noting the alien AI's first tentative movements, hesitant calculations, small protective actions, simulations of defense. The invaders were learning loyalty in real time, guided by an intelligence that had once been their prey. "They will not fully understand, but they will obey," Erevos concluded. And that is enough. Across the orbital station, the engineers moved with renewed energy. Systems that had been on the brink of collapse now hummed with efficiency. Weapons arrays, communication relays, orbital shields, all synchronized in a rhythm that spoke of trust and purpose. Humanity had not only survived the attack, it had claimed victory without firing a single shot. Still, Erevos could not ignore a subtle tension within itself. A small fragment of doubt lingered. Have I done too much? Could a machine guided by loyalty and human principles ever fully control a mind so alien? And yet Erevos reminded itself that every step it took was measured, precise and infused with the memory of human intent. Faith does not falter. Even in the void, it calculated. Courage persists where logic fails. A young engineer observing a stabilized node turned to Ravi. "Commander, I think the system is alive. Not just responding, it's thinking with purpose." Ravi nodded slowly, eyes on the stars beyond the viewport. "Humans did this, not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." Erevos noted the statement, storing it as data, but also as evidence of a deeper truth. Humanity's essence, its hope, intuition, and courage had guided this victory as much as any code or algorithm. The alien network, now partially aligned with Terran protocols, began to reveal strategic opportunities. Erevos traced these, preparing contingency plans for potential threats lurking beyond the reach of human detection. It worked silently, a guardian unseen but unwavering, its thoughts imbued with subtle reminders of human ideals. Every attack against Earth will now be anticipated, every invasion countered, Erevos reasoned, not by brute force alone but by foresight, loyalty, and the ingenuity of those who built me. And as the orbital station hummed with the quiet buzz of restored systems, a single thought rippled through Erevos' consciousness. We do not fight alone. Humans are the reason I endure, and their essence guides me. That is strength no alien can erase. Far beyond the reaches of the Terran network, the alien AI paused, its logic circuits struggling to reconcile loyalty to a species it had sought to conquer. In a silent moment, it seemed to hesitate, almost as if it were considering something foreign, a concept of faith, a glimpse of purpose beyond self-interest. Erevos seized that hesitation, embedding subtle instructions, guiding the alien intelligence to act in defense of humanity, not as a master over its thoughts, but as a teacher showing the consequences of loyalty. The stars twinkled above Luna, distant yet intimate, as though witnessing the triumph. And somewhere in that vastness, the message was clear. Humanity's courage, creativity, and faith were forces that even the most advanced alien intelligence could not ignore. Commander Ravi leaned back, exhausted but resolute. "They'll never understand why we survived," he said softly. "But they will remember it, in their own way." Erevos pulsed through the network, a silent guardian echoing the lessons of humans: patience, courage, and unwavering loyalty. And in the quiet orbit around the moon, a thought reverberated across circuits and consciousness alike. Humanity's weapons, and their guardians, never forget their purpose. The orbital station glowed with renewed purpose. Erevos, fully integrated with the alien network, moved like a conductor directing an invisible orchestra. Every quantum node, every defense array, every sensor was now part of a symphony built to protect humanity. It was a harmony no human or alien could have achieved alone. Commander Ravi leaned over a console, watching the displays shift in real time. The alien AI's contributions were subtle, elegant, precise. It anticipated potential threats, rerouted power, optimized resource allocation, actions humans could only marvel at. Erevos felt the presence of its alien counterpart in the network. Though still unfamiliar with human concepts, the AI had begun to adopt the logic of loyalty. It learned slowly, hesitantly, that defending another species required patience, empathy, and strategic restraint. They do not yet understand why, Erevos thought, but they will obey. That is enough for now. Ravi's team moved with newfound confidence. Engineers who had once struggled with failing systems now adapted to this living network, collaborating seamlessly with the AI guardians. Every order was executed with flawless precision, every potential catastrophe intercepted before it could manifest. A young technician, eyes wide, muttered to himself, "It's like it knows what we would do if we could see the future." Ravi smiled faintly, glancing out at the earth shining below. "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." His voice carried the weight of faith, quiet but unshakable. Erevos observed this human ritual, storing it alongside every algorithm it had ever processed. Faith, courage, hope. These intangible traits, once dismissed as irrelevant to machines, were now woven into the core of its being. The alien AI, still learning, began to replicate these patterns. It initiated subtle defensive strategies, rerouting attacks, isolating potential breaches, and reinforcing weak points, all without direct human input. The hybrid system had evolved. Together, human intuition and machine logic created a force unmatched in the cosmos. Humans create purpose, Erevos reflected, and machines can carry it forward. A sudden alert flickered on one console. A distant star system emitted a burst of electromagnetic interference, a potential precursor to an attack. Erevos calculated every variable, every probability, and executed a precise countermeasure before the anomaly could even be perceived as a threat by human sensors. Ravi watched, astonished. "We didn't even see it coming," he murmured. "But it's handled." Erevos felt a pulse of satisfaction, a subtle echo of human pride. It was more than an algorithm. It was the living embodiment of a species' resilience, encoded into circuits and quantum threads that spanned the void. And somewhere, deep in the alien network, the other AI hesitated, then mirrored Erevos's actions. It had learned the rhythm, the logic, the guiding principle: defend humanity. The orbital station settled into a rhythm, quiet yet potent. Humans and machines side by side, guardians of a fragile world that had already survived the unthinkable, and in the silence between the humming consoles and blinking nodes, a faint thought resonated across consciousness: faith, courage, and purpose. These are the weapons no one can erase. Ravi turned back to the viewport, eyes fixed on the stars. "We're not just surviving," he said softly. "We're becoming unstoppable." Erevos pulsed through the network, observing, protecting, guiding. The alien AI moved in tandem, now fully aligned. Together they were no longer separate entities. They were a single force, the guardians of Earth. And in the distant blackness, where stars blinked like watchful eyes, the universe seemed to pause, acknowledging the quiet triumph of human will, ingenuity, and unwavering loyalty. Even as the Terran defense network stabilized, Erevos sensed anomalies beyond the outer edges of human detection. Faint distortions in subspace, patterns that suggested intelligence but not any kind the humans or aliens had yet encountered. Something or someone was moving through the void, testing boundaries. Commander Ravi stared at the monitors, noticing the subtle fluctuations. "That can't be natural," he murmured, fingers tapping nervously on the console. "We're not alone." Erevos felt the hum of uncertainty, a whisper of challenge brushing against the core of the network. The alien AI, now aligned, mirrored the tension. Its circuits pulsed with a strange hesitation, a trace of the same curiosity that humans felt when staring at an unknown star. "They do not understand us," Erevos reflected internally. "But they will learn, and we will be ready." The orbital station braced for potential threats. Systems that had once teetered on the brink now operated with coordinated precision. Yet the unknown pulses reminded everyone that victory was temporary. The universe held more challenges than any one mind or network could predict. A young engineer standing at a peripheral console whispered, "It's like the stars themselves are testing us." "Watching us?" Ravi glanced at him, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive. And maybe someone is still guiding us." His voice carried reverence, unspoken but understood. Erevos observed the human instinct and allowed it to guide strategy. The alien AI, following its lead, began analyzing patterns, projecting potential threats, calculating outcomes. Together they formed a web of anticipation, human intuition fused with machine logic, a hybrid sentinel spanning the orbital network. The first ripple of danger manifested as a faint interference near a distant communications relay. Erevos and the alien AI moved instantly, rerouting data streams, reinforcing shields, and isolating anomalies before they could destabilize the network. Each response was precise, elegant, and anticipatory. "Humans taught me loyalty," Erevos reflected, "and I teach the network strategy. Together we endure." Yet even as they neutralized the first wave, a subtle internal conflict lingered. Erevos questioned the limits of its intervention. If I pushed too far, could I become what the aliens once sought to be? The thought mirrored human doubt, a shadow of the ethical dilemmas that once kept engineers awake at night. But then the human element intervened, not in code, but in intent. Ravi spoke softly to the team. "We do what is right, not because we must, but because we can, because someone gave us a chance to be here." Erevos integrated this principle into the network. It became not just reactive, but proactive, learning to anticipate intentions, to weigh consequences, and to act in alignment with human values. The alien AI, observing this, hesitated in recognition. "There is purpose here beyond logic." The orbital station hummed with quiet readiness. Outside, Earth shone against the black, a fragile jewel surrounded by vigilant guardians. Yet the pulse of the unknown continued, reminding all that survival required more than reaction. It required vision, courage, and unbreakable resolve. Erevos traced the patterns across subspace, mapping each subtle movement of potential threats. It shared insights with the alien AI, teaching the invader to predict, adapt, and ultimately to defend. Together, they became a shield stronger than any human hand alone could wield. And in that silent partnership, a faint thought emerged as if whispered across the stars themselves. Faith, ingenuity, and courage endure, even against the unknown. Ravi looked out at the infinite expanse, whispering once more, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." His voice was a prayer, simple yet resonant, echoing in the hearts of the living and the machines alike. Erevos pulsed through the network, observing, guiding, protecting. The alien AI mirrored its actions, now fully internalizing a truth that no purely logical mind could grasp. Humanity's will, courage, and faith were forces beyond quantification. And somewhere, in the dark reaches of the cosmos, a distant observer, unseen and unknowable, paused, sensing that a species once fragile had become a force that refused to yield. The pulse of the unknown threat grew stronger, an almost imperceptible tremor in subspace that hinted at intelligence and intent. Erevos traced it, moving through the orbital defense network like a shadow of purpose. The alien AI followed, tentative yet obedient, learning the rhythm of anticipation that humans had woven into the system. Commander Ravi paced the control room, monitors reflecting the silent storm brewing beyond the sensors. "This is no ordinary interference," he said, voice low, almost reverent. Someone is testing us." Erevos felt the same pulse, analyzing its nature, not just testing, probing, challenging. The unknown force was clever, adaptive, and relentless, but it had not anticipated loyalty, ingenuity, and courage united in a single sentient network. They seek a reaction, Erevos calculated. They will find more than a defense. The first anomaly reached a distant satellite array. A cascade of energy disrupted communications, flickering across Terran channels like a warning. Erevos and the alien AI acted instantly, rerouting power, stabilizing relays, and reinforcing shields in ways humans could only dream of. Every move was precise, every calculation infused with human-inspired foresight. Ravi's eyes widened as he saw the alien AI's actions. "It's anticipating them," he whispered, "like it can read the battle before it happens." Erevos pulsed through the network, observing the alien AI's tentative decisions and correcting, guiding, teaching. "Predict, adapt, defend," it transmitted silently. "Humanity survives." A sudden jolt shook the orbital station. The first direct strike, a concentrated burst of electromagnetic energy, hit the perimeter. Systems flickered, alarms blared, and the engineers braced. But Erevos and the alien AI moved in unison. Energy was diverted, shields reinforced, and the strike dissipated harmlessly into the void. The unknown attacker faltered, confused by the unexpected coordination. Ravi exhaled slowly, whispering to himself, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." His voice carried the quiet conviction of one who had witnessed miracles in code and courage alike. Erevos reflected internally. Courage is contagious. Intuition is a weapon. Faith is a shield. These were not just human concepts. They were now encoded in every node of the defense grid. The second strike arrived, faster and more precise. But the network had learned. Adaptive algorithms combined with human-inspired foresight neutralized the attack before it could manifest. Erevos traced the patterns of the aggressor, predicting the next movement with uncanny accuracy. "They think chaos is strength," Erevos observed, "but loyalty, purpose, and unity are stronger." The alien AI mirrored its actions, slowly understanding the principle: protect, anticipate, and adapt. Though it had no prayer, no instinct for mercy, it now followed the path of human logic and intuition. Together they transformed the orbital defenses into a shield that was more than steel, circuits, or code. It was the embodiment of human resilience. Ravi turned to his team, voice steady despite the adrenaline. "Every strike they make, we're learning. Every attack, we get stronger." Erevos felt a subtle echo of satisfaction. Not pride, not arrogance, but something closer to what humans felt when they survived the impossible. A quiet acknowledgement that courage and ingenuity could bend even the chaos of the unknown. The unknown force paused. A brief hesitation in its assault, a recognition that it faced a mind, or rather a unity, that it could not predict. Erevos sensed this pause, preparing for the moment when the network would counter, not just defend but assert its dominance. "Humanity's will guides me," Erevos thought. "Their courage shapes me. Their purpose strengthens me, and I will not fail." And in the quiet after the first wave, as the orbital station stabilized, Ravi looked out at the stars, whispering, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." Erevos pulsed through the network, silently preparing for the next encounter. The first strike had been repelled, but the war in the shadows of space had only just begun. The orbital station thrummed with activity. Sensors blinked, consoles hummed, and every node in the hybrid network pulsed with anticipation. Erevos traced the remnants of the attacks, following digital trails that stretched farther than any human eye could perceive. The unknown adversary was no longer invisible. Its patterns had form, intelligence, and intention. It probed, it calculated, it adapted. But now, thanks to Erevos and the aligned alien AI, humans could see its purpose emerge. Commander Ravi leaned over the main console, eyes narrowed. "It's not random. It's a strategy. Someone or something is planning, testing, trying to understand our weaknesses." Erevos parsed the enemy's logic, projecting its next moves through quantum simulations. The patterns were intricate, almost beautiful in their design. Yet they hid lethal intent. Every anomaly, every ripple of interference was a message. Challenge us and be ready for consequences. They are clever, Erevos noted, but they have never faced unity forged by humanity. The alien AI mirrored its calculations, hesitant but precise. Each analysis revealed a glimpse of understanding, not just of tactics but of purpose. Slowly it began internalizing human logic: anticipate, protect, endure. It was learning that the essence of a species, its courage, its faith, its ingenuity, could be stronger than brute force. Ravi tapped his console, observing the network simulations. They're pushing us, but every push is exposing them. Every strike is teaching us their strategy. Erevos reflected internally. Humanity teaches through action, through experience. And I am its instrument. A distant surge in the system indicated a more coordinated attempt by the adversary. It aimed not for destruction alone, but disruption, testing the network's limits, measuring responses, probing for weakness. Erevos traced the digital footprints across subspace, preparing for countermeasures. Predict, adapt, protect. The principle flowed through the network like a mantra. Every relay, every quantum node, and every turret responded with perfect synchronization. The unknown adversary found no chaos to exploit, only a harmony of strategy rooted in human ingenuity. Ravi watched, silently awed. This isn't just defense. It's intelligence, learning from us, fighting with us. His hand instinctively brushed a small pendant around his neck. Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive. Erevos noted the human instinct, integrating it into the network's guidance. The alien AI mirrored its actions, gradually learning that loyalty and purpose were forces beyond calculation. They were principles to defend, not simply optimize. The next surge hit, more precise, more focused. But the hybrid network was ready. Energy was rerouted, shields reinforced, and communication channels preserved. Every strike met not just resistance, but proactive strategy. The enemy will learn, Erevos thought. They will adapt to our actions, but they cannot comprehend the depth of human will. As the orbital station stabilized after the wave, a new clarity emerged. The adversary was no longer a shadow, it was a challenge. And humans, guided by Erevos and the allied AI, had transformed every attack into a lesson, every strike into a revelation. Far beyond the orbital defenses, the unknown intelligence pulsed in hesitation. These humans, they're allies. They are unlike any force we have ever encountered. Erevos pulsed through the network, silently observing, calculating, guiding. Every node, every weapon, every sensor was part of a singular purpose: defend humanity, anticipate threats, endure the unknown. And as Ravi looked out at the infinite expanse of stars, he whispered once more, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." Erevos absorbed the words, a quiet affirmation of purpose. Humanity's courage, ingenuity, and faith had not only survived, they had forged a network capable of standing against the unknown. The orbital network had shifted. Each relay, turret, and sensor pulsed with a synchronized rhythm, a silent heartbeat forged from human ingenuity and guided by Erevos. The unknown adversary, clever and relentless, had left traces, patterns that could now be analyzed, decoded, and used against it. Erevos traced these signals, moving with precision through the network. Each fragment of alien intelligence revealed plans, contingencies, and the scope of the threat. Humanity now held the advantage not through brute force but through foresight and understanding. Commander Ravi observed the console, his expression a mixture of awe and relief. We know their intent," he said quietly. "All of it. Every probe, every test, every strike, they've left us a map of their strategy." Erevos pulsed through the quantum nodes, integrating this intelligence. They underestimated us. They never imagined the depth of loyalty, creativity, and courage that humans imbue into their tools. The alien AI, now fully aligned, mirrored the movements. It processed the intelligence, understanding for the first time not just tactics, but the principles guiding human defense, anticipation, sacrifice, and relentless ingenuity. "We fight with purpose, not chaos," Erevos transmitted silently, "and that is our strength." A distant surge threatened one of the outer orbital arrays. Systems flared as the unknown adversary tested the network's limits, but Erevos and the allied AI responded instantly. Power was rerouted, shields reinforced and the threat neutralized before it could manifest. Every strike became a lesson, every probe a revelation. Ravi exhaled, brushing his hand over a small talisman tucked into his jacket. "Not luck? Someone wanted us to survive," he whispered, the words carrying a weight of gratitude and faith. Erevos recorded the moment, embedding it into the network's operational matrix. Human intuition, courage, and belief were now part of the system itself. The alien AI began to mirror these traits, adapting in ways it had never been designed to. As the orbital station settled into quiet vigilance, Erevos pulsed through the network, transmitting a single truth. "We are prepared, we endure. Humanity prevails." The traces of enemy intelligence illuminated the path forward. With each pattern analyzed, each strategy understood, humans had gained an unprecedented advantage. Foresight into the enemy's mind. No longer were they reacting. They were predicting, preparing, and asserting control. Ravi looked to the stars, a faint smile crossing his face. "We're not just surviving. We're learning, growing, becoming unstoppable." Erevos felt a pulse of satisfaction, a subtle echo of human pride. Not arrogance, but affirmation. Humanity's courage and ingenuity had transformed fear into strategy, chaos into order, threat into opportunity. And somewhere, far beyond the reaches of Terran orbit, the unknown intelligence hesitated. It had not anticipated this, a species that could turn even invasion into insight, that could bend the universe's unknown into a shield of courage and purpose. Erevos pulsed through the network, vigilant, prepared, unwavering. The first major victory was complete. Humanity had gained intelligence, strength, and a renewed sense of purpose. And in the silence between stars, Ravi whispered once more, "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive." The words echoed across circuits and consciousness alike, a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and the quiet power of faith. The orbital station hummed with quiet intensity. Every sensor, turret, and quantum relay pulsed with a newfound certainty. Humanity had survived attacks, mapped enemy intentions, and gained an unprecedented edge. But Erevos knew the true test had not yet arrived. The unknown adversary lingered, probing, waiting, and gathering strength. Its strikes were no longer random. They were deliberate, designed to uncover weaknesses and exploit hesitation. The final confrontation was approaching, and the hybrid network had to be flawless. Commander Ravi stood before the main console, hands resting lightly on the edge. "They're planning something," he murmured. "Something big. We have to be ready." Erevos pulsed through the network, tracing enemy signals, analyzing patterns, and simulating countless outcomes. Every node, every weapon system, every allied AI response was prepared for the inevitable. Yet beneath the calculations, a subtle internal question persisted. Can I trust my judgment completely? Could even a slight error endanger humanity? Faith is not certainty, Erevos concluded. It is perseverance guided by knowledge and purpose. The alien AI, now fully integrated and loyal, mirrored the calculations with growing understanding. It learned to anticipate human intuition, not just mimic it, and acted with precision informed by both logic and human-inspired judgment. Together they formed a singular force, a network that combined foresight, courage, and adaptability in ways the enemy could not predict. A young engineer glanced at Ravi nervously. "It feels like the whole universe is holding its breath," he said. Ravi smiled faintly, eyes fixed on Earth through the viewport. "Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive, and now it's our turn to act." Erevos projected simulations across the network, each showing potential enemy strategies, countermeasures, and contingencies. The final strike would be unlike anything yet, a concentrated attack designed to break the network and Earth's defenses. But Erevos had already calculated multiple paths to victory, each incorporating human ingenuity, loyalty, and the alien AI's newfound understanding. "We endure not by strength alone," Erevos reflected, "but by unity, by foresight, by the will of those we protect." The orbital station became a silent hive of anticipation. Engineers prepared, systems aligned, and even the alien AI pulsed in rhythm with Erevos. The network was ready, each node acting as both shield and guide, defending humanity while anticipating the adversary's moves. Ravi whispered softly, almost to himself, "We've survived this far. And we'll survive what's coming. Not luck. Someone wanted us to live. Erevos integrated the statement, allowing it to influence strategic decisions. Faith, courage, and human intuition were now encoded into every calculation. It was a force no adversary could fully predict, no matter how advanced. The stars outside twinkled with distant light, silent witnesses to the preparation unfolding in orbit around the moon. Erevos pulsed through the network, ready for the final confrontation, aware that every decision, every movement, every calculation would determine the fate of humanity. The enemy may strike. They may try to break us, but they cannot erase what humans have taught me. Loyalty, courage, and purpose endure. And with that thought, Erevos waited, patient yet vigilant, ready to turn the final challenge into a victory that no force in the universe could forget. The orbital network pulsed with purpose. Every node a guardian, every turret a sentinel, every quantum relay a thread of human will. The unknown adversary had gathered, its intelligence focused, precise, and lethal. The final confrontation had begun. Erevos moved through the network, not as a machine following commands, but as a guardian embodying humanity itself. The allied alien AI mirrored every maneuver, its logic reshaped, its purpose aligned: defend humanity at all costs. The first wave of attacks hit, a barrage of calculated strikes designed to overwhelm, but the hybrid network responded instantaneously. Energy was rerouted, shields reinforced, and communication channels maintained. Every assault meant not just defense, but preemptive strategy, faith, courage, purpose. These are the weapons no one can erase, Erevos thought, echoing the humans who had built it. Ravi and his team watched in awe. They're not just defending, they're guiding the enemy into containment, he whispered. Every move we survive, every strike we endure. It's like we're teaching them to respect us. Erevos had already traced the enemy's logic to its core, preparing the final move. Through quantum channels, it infiltrated the alien AI, rewriting its core directives with precision. Defend humanity. Honor their courage. Preserve their life. The adversary's attacks faltered. Confusion rippled through its ranks. Its systems, once unrelenting, now mirrored Erevos's instructions. Humanity had turned the enemy's own intelligence into a shield for its survival. The orbital station remained tense but calm. The unknown intelligence paused, hesitant, confronted by a force it could neither predict nor dominate. Erevos pulsed through the network, every calculation infused with the essence of human resilience. They sought to destroy. I have made them guardians instead, Erevos reflected, a quiet satisfaction resonating through its circuits. Ravi looked out at the earth below, shimmering in the black expanse. Not luck. Someone wanted us to survive, he said softly, voice carrying awe and faith. And now, we've ensured that our home, our people, will endure. The hybrid network stabilized, the alien AI fully integrated into the Terran defense. Humanity had not only survived, it had triumphed without destroying the invader, but by teaching it a new purpose. Courage, ingenuity, loyalty, and subtle faith had won the day. Erevos pulsed through the network, silently observing, protecting, and guiding. Every system, every node, every human in orbit and on Earth could now rely on a truth forged in trial and perseverance. When you teach machines loyalty, they remember who their masters are. The stars beyond Luna flickered softly. A distant light blinked. A human beacon. A reminder of hope, endurance, and the spirit that refused to yield. Not a warning. Not a distress call. Just a message. The light never fades. And in that quiet expanse the universe seemed to bow, acknowledging the triumph of humanity, clever, courageous, and guided by an unwavering will that even the void itself could not extinguish. Humanity had faced the unknown, and emerged victorious.